A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
At that time, great multitudes accompanied Jesus, and he turned and said to them, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he was enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, 'This man began to build and was not able to finish.' Or what king going to encounter another king in a war will not sit down first and take counsel whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, while the other is yet a great way off, he sends an embassy and asks terms of peace. So therefore, whoever of you does not renounce all that he has cannot be my disciple." This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning once again, brethren. In the day's readings, Jesus wants to point out his identity as a person greater than any other being. He considers him the creator, and through the parables, he uses tough sentences to reveal his identity. He's calling people to hate their own parents, their own children, their own possessions at the expense of his love. In fact, St. John, in his first chapter, his gospel, first chapter, verse 1 to verse 3, reveals the real identity of Jesus and called Jesus the Word. In the beginning, the Word was with God. And all that we see and that we don't see with our own eyes are created by him. He is the creator. He is above all, be it persons or other beings or other things. It is not only here that we hear this tough sentence. When I was meditating on these readings, I thought of a certain story where Jesus encountered a certain young man who wanted to follow him. And this young man has lost his father. And then the young man goes to Jesus and told him, "Let me first go and bury my father, then I will come and follow you." You remember the response of Jesus, or his reaction? He said to him, "Let the dead bury their dead, and you come and follow me." Imagine such sentence to a person who had lost his father. One might consider it as an impolite sentence, and it is true. But Jesus used this tough sentence to show how great we have to take him as the first person in our lives. He is above all our parents, our possessions, all our relatives, and even our friends. This hatred between us and our relatives at the expense of God's love is not a real hatred. It's a way of saying where we have to give the priority to Jesus, to give him the first place in our hearts, and sit down and listen to him and accept to be taught how to love by him, and then turn to our relatives, our partners, our friends, and show them this real love we get from Jesus. In fact, it is not a real hatred as it is written, but the love we receive from him and give them their place. By the way, when you observe our lives, we only come in this world alone. Even if people are twins, but they have different placenta. Each and everybody has his own placenta. And if people die, everybody is given his own tomb. I think they have something to say. We come alone and we shall go alone. So let us not take those people we only encounter in this world and give them the first priority, the place which is not theirs. Let us give the first place to our Creator, because we only come alone after being created by him. In fact, Jesus, the first person to encounter in the period of creation, though we are not aware, although we don't see him physically with our eyes, but he's the first person to encounter. So let him also be the first to enter our hearts. And I'm showing you that when he is the first to be in our lives, then we shall be able to place or to give places to all our parents or relatives accordingly and in a worthy manner, and show them the real love appropriate to them, parents, partners, children, and friends. He's also calling us for another important virtue of detachment, especially possessions. Reflecting on these readings, I thought maybe it is good to reflect on those things we normally give priority, or things we cherish in our lives. Maybe it is our houses, maybe our vehicles, maybe our computers, etc. But those things, when you observe them, the way we give them priority in our lives, do they recognize the love we show to them? Suppose you have a very beautiful vehicle, a beautiful house, and your enemy come to drive that vehicle, won't occupy your house. Will your vehicle or house complain? You just be there and let your enemy to drive or to occupy. And that means we normally show them love, but they don't respond. Then why are we wasting our time? It is good to have possessions, but let us not allow them to turn us against God, or to give them the improper place in our hearts. Those are the things we use, or we need to live, and we need to use loving God, but not be our idols. Brethren, let us imitate this thief we see in the second reading, Onesimus. Onesimus was a houseboy of Philemon, and at a certain extent he took his money, he stole his money, and Philemon accused him and was taken to prison. Now, reaching prison, he met St. Paul, who was also in prison, for Christ's sake. Onesimus was there for his theft, but St. Paul was there for the sake of the gospel. And then, living together in prison, St. Paul happened to convert Onesimus. Now, seeing that Onesimus has already converted to Christianity, turned back against all his evil works, then St. Paul is writing to his friend Philemon to receive Onesimus as a converted Christian. We are called to observe all our faults and accept a total conversion. And not only that, we are also called to pass across this good news of Christ to those who are in need, like Onesimus. And if possible, convert them and make them our own brothers and sisters. Not take them like the evil makers, but as people who have converted. Brethren, if you want to be true disciples of Jesus, we have to know that what we accept to carry will not always be easy for us. Jesus is calling us to take our crosses and follow him. I heard a certain joke in one of the churches around. They told men to go and bring their crosses, and one of them brought his wife. And when they said, "Why are you bringing your wife?" And he answered, "This is my real cross." For sure, there are also some women who can bring their husbands in the church to bring their crosses at the altar. But what Jesus wanting to mention is that not all days are Sundays. There are Good Fridays, and there are also time of resurrection. So in carrying out this good news, people will receive you, and others will hate you, will chase you, even at the extent of killing you. And that is why Jesus is saying, hate also your own life at the expense of God's good news. It is not easy, but Jesus being in our midst and having the priority and the first place in our hearts, for sure we shall be able. So let us, this sacrifice of Mass, once again accept him as the first person in our hearts. Then we shall use our own efforts, but I'm assuring you that we will conquer on our behalf. The Lord be with you. Brethren, let us now stand up and profess our faith.